Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, we're gonna do a series of video about flight planning. In the first video, we're gonna take a look in doing a flight planning using SimBrief, Navigraph, and FS 2020 world map, of course. Why we do flight planning, especially for IFR, which is instrument flight rules. I think it's very important to do planning in advance properly, so you have a smooth flight during your simulations. Now there is a VFR, which is visual flight rules, which is much more unregulated. So of course there you have to follow certain guidelines or rules, but it's more you can go around in certain airspace that is allowed to do VFR. Now for IFR, mostly you do it for airlines, especially flying A320neo, 747 or 787, whatever, or a smaller turboprop. If you want to do flying at night or bad weather, then you have to do IFR anyway. So that is the most common use. Now in the first videos right now, I'm gonna do one way of doing flight planning. Well, this is my way, not for everyone, because if you want to do IFR without any add-ons or any other applications, you can do it directly in the FS 2020 world map, right? So it's very simple. You go there. Of course, you can just do whatever IFR required, and FS 2020 world map, edit free flight or create flight plan mode, they can help you do that. Now for the serious simmer, where you want to do planning yourself, you want to know the SID, star, or approach that you're going to take, then you have to have some other means or tools, in my opinion, because there are several informations actually available only in certain applications. I'll show you what it is. Or if you want to have a smooth process, compared to, there are a lot of free application, of course, free charts and everything, but again, it's not updated since FS 2020 use AIRAC, or the navigation aids database, which is the latest one. I think it's 2105, 2105. So I think that's the latest one. You're going to have some discrepancy if you're using an older AIRAC, let's say 1803 or something, which is some route or some waypoints are no longer exist, and you will have some problems. That's why it is recommended, if you are serious enough, if you don't have if you don't want to spend a lot of money, just use FS 2020 world map. Built-in flight planning, that's it. But if you want to have a more serious way of doing planning, then I would suggest really to get in to learn about using SimBrief, and definitely you can invest in Navigraph subscription. I think it's a monthly subscription or annual fee subscriptions. I think it's quite a lot, around $80 per year. But it's really worth it, because all the chart, airport chart, departure charts, arrival charts, approach, chart and taxi on the airport diagram, it's all there. And you can do, I'll show you later on, you can connect a live moving map where with Simlink, their applications, which connect to FS 2020 and provide indications of moving map. So it's, rather than you use a little nav map or other add-on, of course it's free to track your whereabouts in the world. You can have it also in Navigraph chart applications. using Symlink connection. So I won't go into detail on that one, but just going through why I choose SymBrief, Navigraph, and FS 2020 as one way of doing the planning. Now there's another way of doing planning, which is I'm going to show in the second video, is using Pilot to ATC. Of course, you can use SymBrief, Pilot to ATC, and FS 2020. So Navigraph over there are not mandatory, but it helps. I think it, especially in visualizing your whereabouts. But hey, there is already a moving map in Pilot to ATC. So choosing between Pilot to ATC planning and SymBrief, Navigraph, FS 2020 is that it's depending on where you want to do your ATC or which ATC you want to use. If you want to use inbuilt ATC of FS 2020, I would suggest you just do SymBrief, Navigraph, FS 2020. If you want to use Pilot to ATC features of ATC, so you disregard the inbuilt ATC of FS 2020, which I will show you in my second video. You better do the planning in Pilot to ATC because they will govern you all the way. Compared if you do it in Navigraph and FS 2020, it will create a nice flight plan. But if it's not linked into how Pilot to ATC govern the flight itself, it will kind of disconnect. Right. So again, in my opinion, it depends on which ATC platform you want to use. Okay, so if you want to use the FS 2020 ATC platform, then you can use SymBrief, Navigraph, and FS 2020. Navigraph will help you visualize the SID and star. Then the SymBrief will create the initial plan, very simple, but the detail of the plan you can do in Navigraph because it has much more features compared to FS 2020 built-in flight plan. That is one way. The other way is Pilot to ATC. SymBrief, Pilot to ATC, and then you upload to FS 2020. So that is the second way, in my opinion. Okay, so let's go to first way of doing things. It's going to be a long video if not. So next, the main application that I'm going to use in this video, of course, SymBrief, and then Navigraph subscription, and then of course the FS 2020 world map, where we're just setting the initial plan, or and this one is uploading the plan, and to have a similar route setting between the Navigraph and FS 2020. And I have several tools, add-ons that I'm using right now. I'm using, of course, the A320NX by Fly-by-Wire Sim, stable version 06. I haven't really ported into the marketplace or my content managers at this moment. I still use the default community folders, but I will move someday within this week. And then the ATC chatter, I'm going to use full sound pack, so just to create some noises in the background. And then of course the very helpful FS2 Crew A320 push button and FS2 Crew pushback express. So that really enhanced the interactivity with the voiceover. There's a replay using FS Playground for replay, but in this video I'm not going to use it because there's some bugs which I haven't updated the software, so there's some error that resulting in crash to desktop. I also use Android apps for A320 calculators to calculate my flex time, V1, VR, V2 for the takeoff speed, and some metric to imperial converter because I'm a metric guy in country, but I'm flying mostly in US using Imperial, so I need to convert. Recording, I'm in the second PC. I'm using Voicemeeter Potato with macro buttons for audio ducking, VST insert, and for sound effect. Later I'm gonna you can hear the radio, ATC radio, have a different voice, sounds actually, because I'm routing it into a sound effect, so it's really sounds like AM radio. Or it's very cool. And there's a Cantabile for VST insert to voice meter, OBS Studio Jingle Palette for some adding sound effect. I'm putting like boarding sound, passenger sound, captain sound, whatever I require to play and add some sound effect. And the hardware, of course, I'm using my DIY A320 controllers for IFS, FS and FCU, and then pedestal for parking brake, flap, and spoiler, Thrustmaster A320 side stick and throttle quadrants, DIY push button for views, Thrustmaster flight rudder pedal, and for the sim PC itself, I'm using Ryzen 9 5950X, and GPU is NVIDIA RTX 3080s. Push it quite high, but within the limits, mostly ultra, but incident only on very useful feature, of course, like textures and everything. DDR4 32 gigabyte at 4000 megahertz, and then of course using Aorus Master B50 550. This is just my spec. I'm using my main monitors as a TV, actually 4K TV with 65 inch, so it's very huge in front of me. I'll show you later on. And then second monitor, I'm using a 4K monitor to show all my tools like Navigraph, SimBrief, FS2 Crew, and everything. Recording PC, I have another PC. It used to be my older gaming PC, just for the recording right now, for OBS and everything. This is my setup right now. As you can see, there's a main monitor for showing FS 2020 and 65 4K TV in front of me, and a second monitor for add-ons like FS2 Crew, SimBrief, and Navigraph maps. Chart is over there on my left. And then, of course, the Thrustmaster A320 side stick, and then Thrustmaster A320 throttle quadrant, and DIY A320 pedestal, spoiler, flap, and parking brake. If you can see here, this is the spoiler, the parking brake, and flaps. This is DIY, so I created myself using MMJoy 2. And then this is my DIY A320 FS and FCU, so I can use this one to control altitude, heading, and then speed if I required. Of course, I haven't been able to imitate the change of the ND display or things like that over here. Unfortunately, it's not yet connected. I'm using this DIY connected through FSU IPC7. So landing gear also is working. Okay, and then the DIY FS 2020 push button box to select my view. So this was this interior view, this one external view, this one is actually to correspond with the ATC answers. If you want to quick answers without mouse, you can do that. That is my of course there's a recording PC monitor here, and then the trackball, mouse, swivel, keyboard on the right to control. The mouse is actually for FS 2020. The trackball is for my second PC, and the keyboard here is for my main PC, and there's another keyboard here actually for my second PC. Okay, so let's start with software preparation. So the first one that I'll show you in the second monitors. If you can see here, there is I put a SimBrief already loaded up. I already log in. This is my this is a blank one. There's a Navigraph here still not prepared, and FS2 Crew, pushback, and push button up here. There's another one actually, FS chatter, that I'm going to load up later on. Okay, so let's start with the SimBrief. I think I think the first one, based on my practices, common practices, is basically setting up here. So I'm going to use United Airlines 5300. I'm going to depart from QLS, okay, to KPHX, okay, and they will already define to KPRC as alternate, okay. And then of course today I'm using profile, airframe profile provided by EasyJet Sim Pilot. So he's a guy in YouTube which is creating this A320 profiles, so we can set quickly here, like climb profile, cruise profile, descent profile, fuel factors already set. I'll change this one to my flight registration cell call, because we don't cross the ocean, Pacific or Atlantic. We don't need cell call. ATC call sign will be UAL 5300 or United 5300. This one I don't change. Units, I put LBS because I'm gonna fly in US mostly. Runway, I think, let's see if I see it in here in the map. Let's see, McCarran. Let's depart from McCarran and KPHX. Okay, so if you can see here, there's a wind direction here, 60 and 258. So 258 is, I think, around on the west, heading west, and I think we try to get the runway heading east. So 19L, probably not correct. 10 degree or 8 degree, that might be okay. So let's, if you want to see, you can do here, or you can do it in what do you call it, in Navigraph. And okay, oh okay, this was runway 8. I think it's a bit, I think it's, we can use runway 8 left, right? 8 left, so I think it's much better. 8 left. Okay, and then because the wind and on the landing, I think it's going to be around 60 degree, meaning mostly toward the east, the wind. So we're trying to head toward the west, or yeah, so we're trying to get headwind. So in Sky Harbor, Phoenix Sky Harbor, I think we can, oops, sorry, let's see which area. I think most of it is going to be either 25R or 26. I mean, it doesn't make any difference much. You can select 26, I guess, because the wind is now 60 degree, meaning mostly going to the east over here. So we are trying to get into headwind from 26 runway. Okay, so we're gonna use a 26 approach arrival. No extra altitude. Let's set for 3500. Okay, and then passengers auto, cargo auto, zero fuel weight auto, and everything auto. Okay, so we're gonna use, now either way we are going to use it's given here as the best route is departing route is using Rustler 1. and Zany through transition in Zany and direct to Wotro, and our star or standard terminal arrival route will be standard terminal arrival star, which is browser 1. And we haven't really sent detail about the approach, of course. So we can see here, I think should be okay, because I think we are departing an 8L, 8 left. We'll see. Okay, I think it's we can fine-tune later on in Navigraph because it's not so apparent here. So once we are okay with the okay, sorry, I have to show you the second screen. So here, this is the Rustler, Zane, Wotro, and browser 1. Okay, Rustler 1 is our standard instrument departure, transition to Zany, and direct to Wotro, and our star will be browser 1. Okay, so I think it should be fine. And there is actually emergency alternate airport will be KPRC. Yeah, so here KPRC is Prescott, yeah, as our alternate airport. So once we are okay with this, let's check again. Everything should be okay. 350 flight level. Okay, and let's say we save flight. So you can see here I'm using AIRAC cycle 2105 current. So it's I've already subscribed to Navigraph, so I already choose the current AIRAC. If not, then you have to choose older AIRAC like 2003 or even older, which sometimes and in my experience the route is sometimes no longer exists. So when I try to plan here and try to export it into FS 2020, it doesn't work because the FS 2020 already used the 2105 AIRAC also. It won't recognize the route. Yeah, okay, so that is the problem if you don't use the current AIRAC here. So it's very useful if you fly a lot IFR, if you really subscribe to Navigraph and get the latest AIRAC over here. Okay, so once you're done, let's generate the OFB. So we already have several flights before. So now we generating the OFP or operational flight plan. Here is the OFP. Routing will be Rustler 1 to transition to Zany, direct to Wotro, and star browser 1. So here's the graph. Here is the OFP details. So there's some zero fuel weight, takeoff weight, and other information here, cost index, cruise flight level, and a lot of like trip wind, tail 16 knots, and other things. Okay, so we can use this one if we need one during the flight planning. Now the next one after this is we want to detail the flight plan, not in sorry, there's a thunderstorm in my at home. We want to detail the flight plan not using FS 2020 but using Navigraph here because it's very nice. We want to track the flight in Navigraph, not in FS 2020. There is a map also, moving map in flight FS 2020, but it's really kind of a bit difficult to use in my opinion. Okay, so let's click here. So you can see there is a menu here, flights. I don't want to show you detail on how to use Navigraph, but we're gonna bit quickly. Then you go to SimBrief. I already have set the setting with my SimBrief username. and then I will get the latest sim brief. So they will only get the latest sim brief OFP that you just generate in SimBrief. Okay, so we take it. Okay, got that. Where is it? Okay, sorry, it's here. Okay, so here we are. The moving map has to be activated. Here is, if you can see here, there's class here. Over here, you can see it's over there, and then going to the south to over here. It's a bit different. Okay. Now I think brusher here a bit different. We're gonna do hold on, let me check. It's actually the Zillup. What's the difference here? Oh, why this browser over here? I didn't see it. Okay, because sorry, you're right. I mean, because we are heading toward the runway 26, right? Not I used to use the 08 here, so it's okay. So we're gonna use runway 26 here, ILS landing later on. Okay, so the flight plan is similar with SimBrief already. However, here we can see if there's disconnect between this because we haven't set the runway. I think we do set the runway 08. Let's check. 08, come on. Runway 08 here. Okay. 08 left. Here runway 08 already. Departures already Russell Hussein. I think should be okay. I'm not sure why it doesn't show. So we can here, here we can see we can generate the map, opening the if you want to see the airport here, we can take here and then pin it. Click the pin here and go back here. You will show you the map over here overlaid in the, it's because 08 is going over there. Okay, so that is okay. Runway 08 Russell Zane direct to Wardrobe browser runway. Okay, so now we'll set up the approach. Let's do ILS. There's no ILS 26. ILS 26. Okay, in this one. Okay, ILS 26. Sky Harbor over here. Show waypoint to juggle and run, and then runway 26. Now we at route here, so it's supposed to be connected. Okay, over here, so like this. Okay, so that is the route. The browser thing is ending. Let's me show the, wow, there's a big thunderstorm here. Juras is the latest waypoint and going to here. So we finished, I think, mostly with the plan. Here you can import here the, let me check the ILS. So especially for the approach, I want the map open. Here link ILS or locator runway 26. Okay, let's put the map here. Yep, here the map is showing, and I think we can pin it. Okay, and here we can pin below, so if we need it, we're gonna pull that out during our flight. So if we want to overlay that, it will be here and going back to juggle and then landing runway 26. Okay, we're gonna capture the ILS around here. Okay, so that is first flight plan. So once we kind of we can pull out each load, like this. There's a map here also for the star. If you want to pull out like this from Wotro to Jagal or Juras, you can see we take this route. There's several other routes here for the star to runway 26 here. There's another one here. There's another one coming from here, or going here actually. So there's several ways. So then you can let's say we can also pin this to below, so we can get it if we need it. Okay, so we can take it out if not, you don't want to see it. For the SID or standard instrument departure, also there's a map here that you can pin into the main here. So you can see if you want to sorry, not this one. So if you want to overlay the map in your plan route, so you have to choose this one, Rustler from Scar, Flar, Rudy, Jadwi, Rustler, Rochek, Zayn. Okay, so that is your route for the star, for SID, but you can also get rid of it. So this one is the route already planned in Navigraph, so very detailed. You can see all the airways in code number of the airways and the waypoints of it. Then you can choose which one that you want to use for your flight. Once you are okay with this, the next thing will be to export this flight to FS 2020. So here the select format. So you select this format. I think we already set for 5,000 feet, and then you export. And then I've already have the flight plan in Navigraph here, and then class to KPHX. I think runway 08 left to runway 26 left, 26 right. And which one is the, I forgot. Oh, 26 only, not right. Let's say 26. Okay, so, and don't forget to put the PLN behind it because it won't recognize. Okay, so it's already saved. Now we are going back to the main screen where we show the where we already inside the world map flight plan. So here below you can select the load and save button, and then load, and then we go to my save flight plan here, flight plan Navigraph. I think this one is the one. Then load. Okay, so here the beauty of the Navigraph, planning with Navigraph, is that it recognizes the SID, the flight, cruise flight, or waypoint, your flight plan, and then the star, and of course the ILS itself, and then they will adjust automatically the route itself. You see, if you're using SimBrief directly imported to here, it won't recognize, if I'm not mistaken, it won't recognize this different stage of the flight. It will only give you a direct route only. So there's no color coding. They don't, FS 2020 did not recognize or do not recognize the type of the route that you are planning in other software, like in SimBrief or using Pilot to ATC, for example. If you're using Pilot to ATC and imported here, it won't recognize. Okay, so basically it doesn't show over here. So here you can load here and save your time not to program the MacDo MCDU inside the A320neo. So here is very accurate flying. So it's a direct flight from runway 8 left, and then I think the first one will be LeFlar, as we know already, and then Rudy, Jadwi, and then Rustler here, and then Rochak and Zaini as transitions, and then this is Zaini, okay, Rochak, and then Rustler. So direct to Wotro, and then starting from Weiner, and Meyer, I think Meyer around here. Oh, here, sorry. This is DRK, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's DRK, yeah. Drake waypoint, so it's not shown. I think it's not a waypoint, right? Brasser, Anti, and then going Zillup, Bree, and then Juras as our last one. So let's check if you want to see, as you can see here, it's very should be similar like Zillup. There is Zillup here, right? Already, yeah, Zillup, and then Brazzers. There are several addition, I think, in FS 2020 that they here is a bit like, let's show waypoint. Come on, okay, for approach. So not for approach, for arrival. Breeze, Zillup, Anti, Zillup, Breeze, and Kuko and Juras. I think should be the same. There's no Kuko though in FS 2020. So if you see in FS 2020, there's no Kuko, but I think Kuko is around here. Let's say Kuko here, but it's not listed here. Okay, only listed Juras. Juras is there, the same as you can see in here as Juras and Kuko, and then Breeze. If you go back into here, sorry, I did it. And then Juras, come on, what is this? And then Breeze and Zillup. Okay, so it's exactly the same except for this last one. So from Juras to this is what waypoints Chiron. If you see in the second monitor, there will be here if you want to see, and then show waypoint. Juggle, I think they use another waypoint somewhere to help direct the flight, or I think it's, so I think it's, let me see, where's Juggle is around here. They going back further to here is to Cherun, Zimos, Hakchu. So you can see here, I think they kind of like I don't know how far they go, but I think around here. Okay, Baral, Silly, I think somewhere around here. So they kind of create their own flight route. Here you can see from Juggle in this, and as Juras, I guess they give you a direct flight path, to somewhere around here, and then have a very smooth turn into Cherun, and you can kind of capture the ILS from a bit further away than if you go direct to Juggle around here. Okay, so that is the beauty of using Navigraph and FS 2020. FS 2020 recognize the SID and the star, and the approach that you select here, ILS 226 via arrival Brasser 1. So it's recognize it, departure Rustler 08 left. So that recognize the route. The only thing that we need to do is selecting the departure point. So we don't want to use runway, of course, then we don't have a cold and dark. So we're going to use get departures. I've already know my favorite. Which one? Gate A19. Where is it? You have to select from this drop down. You cannot select it from the map. It will ruin your plan, the loaded plan again. Okay, this one. So if you select from here, it's okay. It doesn't change the loaded route that you create in Navigraph. And the other things that you need to do is adjusting the time. I'm a morning person, so I just want to start early morning. Let's start a bit no, too early. Let's, I don't know, let's 5 o'clock, or yeah, let's do 5 o'clock in the morning. So it's a very early morning flight. Okay, around 5. So we start from 5 o'clock in the morning, AM. And the other thing is just check your liveries. If you correctly choose one, I already use my United Airlines, and you don't need to set weight and balance because we can import it from SimBrief later on. That's why the SimBrief is used for many other things except for flight plan. Okay, so here, because the flight plan is created here, you don't need to load anything in SimBrief. Okay, so we done our first flight plan preparations. So if you see, we already complete our create flight plan. We done our flight plan. Just to recap, we do our initial flight plan in SimBrief, and then we open the flight plan in Navigraph to make it more details, or if you want to adjust slightly on the approach or airport or things like that. We check the FS 2020 also world map for the wind directions and the speed, because we're gonna use weather engine from the FS 2020 anyway, so we have to check with the FS 2020 wind directions on each of the airport to select the right runway if possible, and then fine tune it in Navigraph because it's very useful chart. You prepare the airport chart, SID chart, a star chart, destination or arrival airport chart. So you open it and then pin it in Navigraph, so when you need it, you can open it immediately. If you want to check the approach, the ILS approach requirements, the speed limits, the altitude limits, it's all there in the charts, so you can open it. Once you're ready, you export it into FS 2020 flight plan format, and then you import into FS 2020 flight plan. And the beauty of it, from Navigraph to FS 2020, the chart, the flight plan is recognized perfectly, almost perfectly. Even FS 2020 do some final adjustment, especially on the approach leg. So they give you a bit nice, smooth turn rather than kind of abrupt turn to capture the ILS transmitter. So as you can see, it's already completed. So next step will definitely goes into the flight itself. So just to recap, we select the airport from Gilas or McCarran International in Las Vegas to Phoenix Sky Harbor in Phoenix, and then the SID we use Rustler 1 star Brasser 1. Approach we select not runway 08, sorry, I think we approach I think we use approach on ILS 26. We changed this and then transition via not Alice but Jagal or Juras, right? And then airline is UAL 5300. Flight level we select 35,000 feet. fuel and payload, we do it in SimBrief, so they give us something. We'll see about that. I don't mind they give some numbers randomly. Okay, so let's start with the flight. The next one definitely is the flight preparations. So before we continue, I'm gonna end the video up to this level because it's a long video. We complete the flight plan, and now second video on this flight planning video is the real flight itself, how to input into MacDo or MCDU, check it, and how to import your flight plan actually or OFP from SimBrief into your A320NX. Okay, so see you in the next part 2 of this flight plan series.